Today's video is on Exodus chapter 4. As you can see here from the title, in the Bible, Moses returns to Egypt. Now this is a part of Exodus chapter 4 that we focus really on. We focus on the beginning of the chapter, which is the signs that God gave to Moses to prove to the people that God had sent him. I'm just going to go down and read from Exodus chapter 4 verse 18 and just stop at certain points to just break up the passage. Then Moses went back to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said to him, "Let me go back to my people in Egypt to see if any of them are still alive." Jethro said, "Go, and I wish you well." The Lord had said to Moses in Midian, "Go back to Egypt, for all the men who wanted to kill you are dead." So Moses took his wife and sons, put them on a donkey, and started back to Egypt, and he took the staff of God in his hand. The significant things here is Moses starts to obey God's command. Verse 17, take this staff in your hand so you can perform miraculous signs with it. God told Moses to return, and he was going to use him to confront Pharaoh and also to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. So Moses begins to obey, and this really is the theme of the chapter, of this particular section of Exodus chapter 4, is obedience. Jethro, his father-in-law, agrees for him to go. God then confirms this, verse 19, by reassuring Moses that he's going back to Egypt, but he's not on the wanted list anymore. Moses takes his wife and his sons and starts back towards it, and he took the staff of God in his hand. Of course, that staff was to be used for many of the miracles that were to be done in the future involved the staff. Remember Moses and the Red Sea as one example, and many examples throughout the book of Exodus and into the book of Numbers as well. Verse 21, the Lord said to Moses, "When you return to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do. But I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. Then say to Pharaoh, this is what the Lord says, Israel is my firstborn son, and I have told you, let my son go, that he may worship me. But you refuse to let him go, so I will kill your firstborn son." We have the benefit of knowing that this was what's going to happen. The significant thing, verse 22, Israel is my firstborn son, the preciousness of Israel to God. And then, of course, really it's prediction of what was going to happen. You refuse to let him go, so I will kill your firstborn son. And that was what was going to happen in the plan of God. Then 24 to 26, at a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses, was about to kill him, but Zipporah took a flint knife, cut off her son's foreskin, and touched Moses' feet with it. "Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me," she said. So the Lord let him alone. At that time she said, "bridegroom of blood," referring to circumcision. It seems that Moses had to put something right before God could finally call him. That was in his own family, and oftentimes that is the challenge. Moses had to have his family united. Moses was called to go back to Egypt. It seemed that Zipporah in some way protested against circumcision, and God confronted Moses in verse 24. We don't know the exact details, but he confronted Moses about this. It just shows us that before we can lead others, we must be leading our families well in accordance to the Bible. Then verse 27 to the end, the Lord said to Aaron, "Go into the desert to meet Moses." So he met Moses at the mountain of God and kissed him. Then Moses told Aaron everything the Lord had sent him to say, and also about all the miraculous signs he had commanded to perform. Moses and Aaron brought together all the elders of the Israelites, and Aaron told them everything the Lord had said to Moses. He also performed the signs before the people, and they believed. And when they heard that the Lord was concerned about them and had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshipped. The things that struck me about this passage, first of all, God kept his promise. You remember in Exodus chapter 4, earlier on in verse 14, remember God said, what about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He's already on his way to meet you, and his heart will be glad when he sees you. And now we see later on in the passage in the same chapter that God keeps his promises. Aaron and Moses meet. There's a great time of affection and joy. They are brothers. And then Moses and Aaron communicate all that God has told them, and then together they go to the Israelites and tell them God's plan. And at this point the people believed, and what I found significant was why they believed. When they heard that the Lord was concerned about them. I thought that was really touching. And sometimes in our lives we forget God's promises, that God is with us. 1 Peter 5 verse 7, casting all your care upon him, he cares for you. Not only had the Lord was the Lord concerned about them, he had seen their misery, and so nothing had escaped the eye of God. What I loved about this chapter was the way they end. They bowed down and they worshipped, and that is always an appropriate response to the promises of God and just to God in general. They bowed down to God and they worshipped God. And at this point the Israelites have believed. They're glad that God is working on their behalf. And let's be encouraged as Christians. Remember that we have at God's right hand our intercessor, Hebrews chapter 7 verse 25. He ever lives to make intercession for us. He's not just concerned and sees out and the misery of the Israelites in the Old Testament. He's concerned and knows the circumstances of our own hearts and lives every day. So be encouraged from the story of Exodus chapter 4.